There are two photos of Maura Murray that everyone knows. The first is her West Point headshot. Chin up, dark hair pulled back, dress uniform. She looks like what she was at 17, a three-sport athlete from Hanson, Massachusetts who ran track, played basketball, and got into the United States Military Academy. Her dad, Fred Murray, was a blue-collar guy who raised Maura and her siblings largely on his own after he and Maura's mom divorced. He called her, "my little girl," and meant it. They were close. He taught her to change a tire. He pushed her to run. She didn't last at West Point. She left after 3 semesters in 2003. Official reason, honor code violation for shoplifting $5 worth of makeup from the PX. Unofficial reason, according to people who knew her, the pressure was crushing and she wasn't sure she wanted to be a soldier. She transferred to UMass Amherst, nursing program, with a 3.8 GPA. She got a campus job as a security guard. She ran track. She dated Billy Roche, a senior cadet at West Point. By all outward signs, she'd course-corrected. The second photo is her driver's license. That's the one on the missing posters. Hair longer, slight smile. It was taken when she was 20. She would be 21 when she vanished. Monday, February 2nd, 2004. Maura calls her father from a payphone. She's upset. She says she needs to come home for the weekend. Fred drives from Massachusetts to Amherst. They go to dinner. He later said she seemed down, but wouldn't say why. He spends the night in her dorm parking lot in his car because there's nowhere else to stay. Thursday, February 5th. Around 3:30 a.m. Maura is working her security shift in the Melville Hall dorm. Her supervisor, according to police interviews, finds her crying, inconsolable, at her desk. She won't say what happened. She leaves early. That same night, Maura drives Fred's new Toyota Corolla while he's asleep. On Route 9 in Hadley, she clips a guardrail. $10,000 damage. No police report because it's private property. No alcohol involved, according to Fred. He wakes up to the damage, doesn't get angry. He says he told her, it's just a car. But something shifts. Friday, February 6th. Maura's sister Kathleen, who was in rehab for alcoholism at the time, is released. Fred picks Kathleen up and drives her to Maura's dorm. The three of them go to dinner. Fred later told reporters Kathleen was drunk and became emotional. He drove Kathleen back to her hotel. Maura went back to her dorm. Saturday, February 7th. Maura calls Billy Roche. They're doing long distance. Phone records show a call. Billy later said she sounded fine. That night, Maura uses her computer to research lodging in the White Mountains and Burlington, Vermont. She looks up directions to Stowe. She also looks up effects of alcohol on depression. Sunday, February 8th. Maura works her security shift. Nothing reported as unusual. At this point, Maura Murray is a stressed 21-year-old with a dented car, a sister struggling with addiction, a boyfriend at West Point, and finals coming up. Nothing in that paragraph explains Route 112. But Monday, February 9th, she decides to create a reason to leave. At 1 p.m., from her dorm room, Maura emails her professors and her work supervisor. The text. Family emergency, death in the family. I'll be gone for a week. There was no death. Fred was alive. Kathleen was alive. Her mom was alive. This was a lie, and it's the first hard fact that doesn't fit, just a college kid taking a drive. At 1:24 p.m., she calls a number for condo rentals in Bartlett, New Hampshire. The call lasts 3 minutes. She doesn't book anything. At 2:18 p.m., she withdraws $280 from an ATM. Her account balance after, $40. At 3:40 p.m., campus cameras catch her car leaving the UMass lot. Black Saturn, Massachusetts plate 703-8710. In the trunk, textbooks, birth control, clothes, jewelry, and a stuffed animal Billy gave her. She stops at a liquor store. Buys $40 of alcohol, Bailey's, Kahlua, vodka, and a box of Franzia wine. A bottle of Coke. Then she drives north. Not toward Boston to see family. Not toward New York to see Billy. She drives into New Hampshire, into the White Mountains, in February, in a car with a sketchy exhaust and bald tires. That's the question that breaks this case into before and after. Before February 9th, you have a young woman with problems, but explicable ones. After 7:27 p.m. on February 9th, you have physics. A car hits a snowbank. A driver disappears. No footprints. No body. No answer. Fred Murray would later say, she was a good kid. Something happened to her. The state of New Hampshire would list her case as endangered missing. The FBI would open a file in 2009. But at 3:40 p.m. on February 9, 2004, Maura Murray was just driving. If Maura Murray's disappearance has a starting line, it's not the crash on Route 112. It's 4 days earlier, at 3:30 a.m., in a dorm security booth at UMass Amherst. Thursday, February 5, 2004, Melville Hall. Maura was scheduled to work the 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. security shift at Melville Hall, a dorm on the southwest side of campus. Her job, sit at the front desk, check IDs, log visitors. Easy work for a nursing student. At roughly 3:30 a.m., her supervisor, Keith, found her at the desk. She wasn't checking IDs. She was crying. Police interviews with Keith, conducted in the weeks after she vanished, describe her as inconsolable and catatonic. He asked what was wrong. She wouldn't answer. He asked if she wanted to go home. She said yes. He clocked her out early. She walked back to her dorm, Kennedy Hall, alone. No one saw her after that until later that day. What caused it? UMass PD and Haverhill PD never got a clear answer. There are three things investigators looked at. A phone call. Maura's cell records show she received a call at 3:15 a.m. from Billy Rocha's sister, Sharon. Billy was stationed at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Sharon later told police it was about relationship issues. Billy and Maura had been fighting. Billy confirmed to Oxygen in 2017 that he'd cheated on Maura months earlier. He said she'd forgiven him, but things were still rocky. Academic stress. Nursing midterms were the next week. Maura had a 3.8 GPA, but friends told police she was worried about pharmacology. Family stress. Her father Fred was in Amherst that weekend. Her sister Kathleen had just been released from rehab on February 5 for alcoholism. Family stress was constant, not new. But it was there. We don't know which of those broke her that night. We only know something did. Fred Murray was asleep in his car in the Kennedy Hall parking lot. He'd driven up from Massachusetts to see Maura and Kathleen. Around 3:45 a.m., Maura took his car, a 1996 Toyota Corolla he'd just bought, without waking him. She drove to Hadley, 10 minutes from campus, on Route 9. At 3:45 a.m. the roads were empty and black ice was reported by Hadley PD. She lost control and hit a guardrail near the Mountain Farms Mall. Damage, $10,000. Front end smashed, radiator punctured, airbags didn't deploy. She was not injured. She was not drunk. Hadley PD was not called because it happened on mall property, which is private. Mall security logged it, but no citation was issued. Maura called Fred. He woke up to the call. He went to the scene. His statement to police, "I wasn't mad. I hugged her. I said, it's just a car. You're okay." They got a AAA tow. The Corolla was totaled. They went back to campus. Fred left for Massachusetts later that day. That's the last time Fred saw his daughter. Kathleen Murray, 27, had been in an alcohol rehab facility in Weymouth, Massachusetts. She was released February 5th. On February 6th, Fred picked her up and brought her to Amherst to see Maura. The three had dinner at Pizzeria Uno in Amherst. According to Fred's 2006 interview with the Boston Globe, Kathleen drank during dinner and became very emotional. Fred drove Kathleen to a hotel. Maura went back to Kennedy Hall. Why does this matter? Because on February 9th, Maura would lie to her professors about a death in the family. Investigators initially wondered if Kathleen had relapsed or been hospitalized. She had not. She was alive. But Maura's lie would use a family emergency as cover. Kathleen told police in 2004 she had no idea why Maura left. She's maintained that for 20 years. Maura worked a shift and went to a dorm party that night, according to friends. She didn't drink much. She left early. Her computer was later seized by UMass PD. The hard drive showed searches made February 7th. Directions to Bartlett, New Hampshire. Lodging in the White Mountains. Stowe, Vermont hotels. Effects of alcohol on depression. Bus routes to Vermont. She also MapQuest directions to Burlington, Vermont. She printed them. Police found a printout in her crashed Saturn on February 9th. At 4:37 p.m., she called a condo rental company in Bartlett, New Hampshire, the North Woodstock Inn. Call lasted 3:02. She did not book a room. The owner told police Maura asked about rates for one person, one night. Then hung up. Interpretation, she was planning a solo trip. North. Into mountains. In February. With no reservations. Maura worked her security shift. 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., Melville Hall again. Her supervisor said she was quiet but functional. No breakdown. She went to class Monday morning, February 9th. Attended a pharmacology lecture. Spoke to professors. Nothing seemed off, according to classmates interviewed by the Hampshire Gazette. Then at 1 p.m., she started erasing her life at UMass. The emails, 1 p.m. to 1:24 p.m., February 9th. From her dorm computer, she sent 3 emails. 1. To her nursing professors, there has been a death in my family and I will be gone for a week. I will contact you when I return. 2. To her work supervisor, family emergency. I can't make my shifts this week. 3. To Billy Roche, I love you. I'll call you later. She did not call him. There was no death. Everyone in her family was accounted for. She then packed. Not everything. She left most of her clothes, her photos, her $76 paycheck. She took textbooks, birth control, diamond jewelry from her grandmother, and a stuffed monkey Billy gave her. At 1:24 p.m., she made one more call to the Bartlett condo rental. No answer. At 2:18 p.m., she hit the ATM at Bank of America in Amherst. Withdrew $280. Balance left, $40. At 3:40 p.m., a UMass security camera recorded her black 1996 Saturn leaving Lot 41. She stopped at Route 9 Liquors. Bought $40 of alcohol, Bailey's, Kahlua, vodka, Franzia box wine, Coke. Then she pointed the car north on I-91. What February 5th to 8th tells us. In 72 hours, Maura went from a crying breakdown at work, to totaling her dad's car, to lying to professors, to liquidating her bank account, to buying booze, to driving toward the White Mountains. Was she running from something? To something? Having a mental health crisis? Haverhill PD's initial theory, voluntary departure. A 21-year-old ditching school after a bad week. Fred Murray's theory, she was lured. My daughter doesn't run. The problem, both theories fit the facts we have. And the facts stop at 7:27 p.m. on Route 112. At 1 p.m. on Monday, February 9, 2004, Maura Murray was a UMass nursing student with a 3.8 GPA. By 7:27 p.m., she would be a missing person. The 6 hours and 27 minutes between those 2 points are the last block of time where we can account for her movements with hard evidence, cameras, receipts, phone records, and eyewitnesses. 1 p.m. to 2:15 p.m., UMass Amherst, Kennedy Hall dorm room. After sending the emails to her professors about a death in the family, Maura packed. What she took, according to the UMass police inventory of her room and the items later found in her car: nursing textbooks and class binders, birth control pills, diamond jewelry from her grandmother, a black stuffed monkey Billy Roche gave her, her favorite pillow, dark clothes, including jeans and a black jacket, $76 paycheck from her security job, uncashed, most of her clothes and shoes, framed photos of family and Billy, her computer, printer, and most toiletries. Her dorm room was not cleaned out. It looked like she planned to come back. At 1:24 p.m. she called the North Woodstock Inn in Bartlett, New Hampshire from her dorm room phone. No answer. Call length, midnight. 2:18 p.m., Bank of America ATM, Amherst Center. Security camera footage shows Maura at the drive-up ATM on North Pleasant Street. She's alone in her black 1996 Saturn 4-door sedan, MA plate 703-8710. She withdraws $280. The receipt time is 2:18 p.m. Balance after withdrawal, $40.47. She does not go inside the bank. No one talks to her. The footage shows her car has visible damage to the front driver's side, likely from the Hadley crash with her dad's Corolla 4 days earlier. She'd been driving the Saturn with that damage since February 5. 2:40 p.m. to 3:15 p.m., Route 9 Liquors, Hadley, Massachusetts. The store is 2.1 miles from the ATM. The clerk, Richard, later told Haverhill PD he remembered her because she was young, polite, and bought a lot. Receipt time, 2:43 p.m. Total, $40.09. She paid cash. Purchased: 1 box Franzia Fruity Red Sangria, 1 bottle Kahlua, 1 bottle vodka, small, 1 bottle Bailey's Irish Cream, 1 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola. Richard said she was alone and didn't appear drunk. She bagged the alcohol herself and left. Store camera footage was requested by police but had already been overwritten when investigators asked 9 days later. This is the last confirmed sighting of Maura in Massachusetts. 3:40 p.m., UMass Lot 41 security camera. A UMass parking lot camera on Massachusetts Avenue captured Maura's Saturn exiting Lot 41 at 3:40 p.m. She's alone, heading north toward Route 116. From here, she has 3 main route options to get to Haverhill, New Hampshire: I-91 north through Vermont, or Route 2, through the Mohawk Trail, or I-93 through Concord, New Hampshire. Police believe she took I-91 north because it's fastest and matches the MapQuest directions found in her car. 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., I-91 north, Vermont. No toll booths, no gas receipts, no confirmed sightings. This is a 2-hour dead zone. Her cell phone records show no outgoing calls after 1:24 p.m. The last ping from her phone was at 4:37 p.m., hitting a tower in Wells River, Vermont, which is just across the Connecticut River from Woodsville, New Hampshire. That puts her on I-91 or Route 302, about 35 minutes from the crash site. Why Wells River? If she was following the MapQuest printout found in her car, it directed her, I-91N to exit 17, Route 302 east, to Route 10 south, to Route 112 east. That route goes through Wells River and Woodsville. 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., Woodsville, New Hampshire to Haverhill. 2 eyewitnesses reported seeing Maura's car, though their accounts were taken days later. 5 p.m., Woodsville Dunkin' Donuts. A customer told police she saw a young woman matching Maura's description alone in a black Saturn in the parking lot. The woman was in the driver's seat, not eating, just sitting. The witness went inside. When she came out 10 minutes later, the car was gone. Woodsville PD could not verify this because the store's cameras were not working. 6 p.m., Swiftwater Stage Shop, Route 112. A store clerk said a woman bought a 20-ounce Coke and paid cash. She said the woman had dark hair and was quiet. She couldn't ID Maura from photos. No receipt, no camera. Neither sighting is confirmed. Haverhill PD treats them as possible, but not verified. 6:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., Route 112, the Wild Ammonoosuc Road. Route 112 is a 2-lane road through the White Mountains. No streetlights. In February, it's dark by 5:30 p.m. Speed limit is 40 miles per hour but locals take it at 50. The shoulders are snowbanks. There are no houses for 1 to 2 mile stretches. At 7 p.m., weather in Haverhill was 21 degrees Fahrenheit, wind 9 miles per hour, light snow. Black ice reported on Route 112 by NHDOT earlier that day. 7:27 p.m., the 911 call. Faith Westman was in her living room at 69, Wild Ammonoosuc Road. Her house sits on a curve on Route 112. She heard a thump, then a slide. She looked out and saw a car nose first in the snowbank across the road, hazard. Lights on. She called 911. Grafton County Dispatch Log, 7:27 p.m. 112, MVA. Vehicle off-road. No one around vehicle. Her husband, Tim Westman, went outside. He saw the car. He also saw a young woman. Tim Westman's statement to police, February 10, 2004. She was by the driver's side. She wasn't hurt. I asked if she needed help. She said no, she'd called AAA. I said it was cold, she could wait in my house. She said no, please, and seemed scared. A car stopped, a school bus, and the driver talked to her. Then she was gone. The school bus driver was Butch Atwood, 72. He lived 100 yards up the road. He was driving his bus home after a charter. He saw the Saturn and stopped. I pulled up, asked if she needed help. She leaned on her car. She said no, she'd called AAA. She was shivering. I told her to sit in my bus to warm up. She said no thanks. I said I'd call police. She begged me not to. Said she was okay. I drove home, 1/10 of a mile, and called 911 anyway at 7:29 p.m. Grafton County Dispatch has both 911 calls, Westman at 7:27 p.m., Atwood at 7:29 p.m. 7:46 p.m., Haverhill PD arrives. Officer Cecil Smith arrived 17 minutes after the first 911 call. The Saturn was locked. Hazard lights still on. Airbags deployed. Windshield cracked. Maura Murray was gone. What was in the car? The box of wine spilled on the back seat. Coke bottle with red liquid. MapQuest directions to Burlington, Vermont. The black stuffed monkey. $4 in cash. Maura's debit card. A rag stuffed in the tailpipe. What was not in the car? Maura's phone, her purse, or Maura. Snow, deep and fresh. No footprints leading away from the driver's side, according to Officer Smith's first report. No blood. No sign of a struggle. It was 7:46 p.m. Maura had been gone for maybe 9 minutes. Or 19 minutes. No one knows.